Hello everyone, I'm the gang. In our last class, we already installed FOR-RCEUT F8. For this prompt, you just need to close it. After closing and restarting, everything will be normal. In this lesson, let's install the engine source code. Okay, let's click on the engine source code. If nothing unexpected happens, we probably won't be able to access this area. It should report a 404 error. This is because of network issues. We are not 404. This is something we simply cannot access directly. Sometimes we can connect directly to GitHub, but sometimes we can't either. Okay, we seem to have missed a plot John just now. Actually, installing VS also follows this kind of installation process. Right after you click it, it needs to host VS. It's basically like installing a plugin here. In our case, we just click modify directly. Let it modify. It can just update the relevant VS settings by itself. Back to where we were just now. Okay. You can see that if your account does not have permissions, or if you are using an anonymous account, you will notice this problem appearing. Then let's log into our account here. Log into the account displays requires authorization. This is newly required on GitHub. It requires an authorized token validation. Okay? Then we came in. This is the code repository for our RL engine. We have explained this in detail in our documentation. And this area, here are some suggestions, right? He recommends 17.4 or a little, and 17.8 is recommended. You can compile this on your engine. And there are some other recommendations here. You can take a detailed look at them. Let's talk about this first. This place has branches for different versions. You can see that. The 4.27. How so? Note that. Please provide the Chinese text you would like me to translate. We can just use the normal one. This version has it, and we mainly use relay. It's the released version. Then 5.4, 5.3, 5.2, right? They are different engine versions. You need to pay attention if you use the engine source code, but it might not correspond to yours. It's this engine source code. Sometimes it's constantly being changed. It might be that I discovered something. It's the plugin from 3 months ago. It could run using the original source code of this engine 3 months later, and other people followed this process to create it. And they also used the Unreal Engine. It also couldn't run in this kind of environment. Then, when we investigated, after checking, we found that is when you open a certain engine, a certain file. For example, if you reference a certain file in the engine, you'll find that within these 3 months, they have changed a massive amount. So this is quite awkward. So if you use the UEC engine, you will encounter this problem. Then we can select it again. Let's select it again. Let's see what position it is when we come in. It's still at this location. Actually, there is something in the spot. Just this. If you scroll back further, you will see that we scroll. Going further back, we scrolled to 5.1. There used to be an issue, which means it required an update to the XML file. That is, if you used an older version of Unreal Engine, you would find that this area had an extra. This commit, they need to go and replace it in the appropriate location because it's due to network reasons. The third-party dependency library has changed, and we don't have this problem now. We should just use the latest one. That should be okay. It should be him. Let's take a look. It should be the source code. Right, let's open it. Let's see if we can download it directly. Let's see about the size. It's actually pretty fast. It should be about a few hundred megabytes. I used to download it this way. Previously, either we used the method of getting the cage. To download the cage here, it's very convenient. Or we just download it. We just pull this thing down. Note that it's the release version. The place is almost... Let's look at the download speed. It should be quite fast. We'll just wait for it to finish downloading. It should be about 500 or 600 megabytes. Because when I used 5.0 before, it was about 300 plus megabytes. And after 5.1 and 5.2, it was over 400 megabytes. This thing must be fully downloaded, because if you don't finish downloading it, there is a problem. Right, if you use getk. long, it's particularly slow. But an advantage is that you can get the latest information in real time. For example, I got it from my desktop using GetKeylong. Look, it's already over 400 megabytes, and the page we just looked at was because GitHub is sometimes unstable and inaccessible. And then after you enter, you need to log in with an account or use GitHub. The repository address is 404. You need to link your GitHub account with your Epic account. And you also have to apply for access permissions from Epic. Okay, we don't have any issues here. Let's paste it here. Let's copy it. Then let's put it in. Or maybe put it in the UE. Or let's take a folder here. Call it UES capitalized. And then paste it here. Then we extract it. It seems like I didn't install the wrap software here, but there shouldn't be a problem. We should still be able to extract it. Let's use the wrap that comes with Windows. Use this RAP. It's really difficult to use. I recommend that you suggest everyone use 7Z. Use 7Z. This series is free. Wow, this one too. It's way too difficult to use. It just froze up. This is because after this computer runs its development environment, I haven't fully calibrated it yet, so there might be these kinds of problems. Let's see if we can delete it. Look, the whole resource manager crashed. I'm speechless. Let's hurry up and change computers. I can't stand it anymore. Let's just put it here. I can't take it. Sorry. This is too uncomfortable. Let's take a look. This should be the official website from July. This should have been fixed. Don't worry about it. Let's take a look at it. Is it still freezing? Yup, it's still freezing. Let's check. We need the 64-bit one. We can just download this. Let's install it directly on the C drive. Okay, it's installed. Hurry up and delete this. I can't take it anymore. I really can't stand this. This resource name has crashed again. This Winyi is so difficult to use, but there's nothing we can do. You can only use Wenshi. Okay, we'll just use 7 data asset P right here. We'll just decompress it here. I think the native tool might be too large, leading to him cannot get in. It's possible. Most of these lessons will cover the process of decompression, downloading, compilation, and verification. Anyway, if you just go through this process once, you'll understand it later. But if you haven't gone through it once, I recommend that you take your time and watch it. Or you can skip ahead while watching. There shouldn't be any major problems. This is something that needs to be tested thoroughly by oneself. Then, the changes over time for this, what works this time, but you might not be able to get it working next time, and then it might work again the time after that. All of these are very possible. Therefore, we often develop using a fixed version. For example, I recently ran into a bug in UE55.443. I'm speechless. 64DT4 didn't have this issue. Then, this problem appeared after updating to 5.4.3. Because of its UE5 engine, it really likes modifying the low-level parts. It sometimes changes in ways like this. You know, for example, I have an audio object. I originally hid it inside the audio object. Then there was a pointer, or an array, to store audio data. We all were used to using it this way. Using it like this was completely fine. Later, they updated a version. They felt it wasn't okay. Our audio object needs to extract the data. Because our data has many formats, we have PCM format or MP3 format, RWA format. Alright, then we extract the array of data. After extracting it, we take this host name. What do we call this? General data. And then using this general data, we derive a more specialized type of data. And then all these frameworks are modified. After they are changed, the code from your prototype won't work anymore. And you don't even know how to use it correctly afterward. And then, let's say, after he changes it, it also has bugs. It just doesn't let you change the data inside yourself. You have to change it using the methods he provides. And then, coincidentally, he just updated and he hasn't provided a way for you to change it. Then you are dependent on him. Maybe he doesn't think this thing is stable enough yet. He made it private. Alright. You can't access it again. My voice is truly desperate, do you know that? Because it's impossible for you to modify his engine source. Because we all communicate based on the published version. You can't just treat this as an engine source. If you modify it, others who get your plot key won't be able to use it. So there's no solution for this. So it's better for everyone to develop using a fixed version. Generally, I don't recommend it. Don't use the latest version. And don't use the oldest version either. Because they usually maintain 3 engine versions. You should choose the middle one. For example, if it's currently 5.2, 5.3, and 5.4, then you should use 5.3. This one is more reliable. And the versions like 5.4.0, versions like 5.0.0, 5.2, you shouldn't use those. It's hard to say about this one, and this idiot is our complete directory. Actually, we can. My project, on my computer, I actually already have a previous one, the engine after compiling. Let me show you what it looks like after compiling. You can see the build code for 5.0 pi. Is this the build code for 5.3 or 5.4? How do we compile it? First, we find this. UEC, we find this. We use this setup. We can enable multi-thread downloading here. We won't enable it then. You can turn it on for a moment. Take a look. Let's first check if enabling it will cause any problems. Find it here. We found our article. It should be here. Let's take a look. Let's copy this line. Copy this line over. Okay. Let's change this line to multi-line layer. Let's save it. Sometimes there might be problems. You can just uncheck it then. We double-click to start. Recording again should be fine. Okay, then this place will check dependencies. It ran into problems. This proves we cannot use this method. Then let's just delete this. It used to be possible. You guys don't have to, and it won't affect anything. This speed is okay. Then this place will retrieve local dependencies and then update. Then this place starts downloading and the download is very long. After he downloads it, he will request your permissions and then perform a local installation check. After that, we can use the project fails built batch process generated by generate to generate our VS files, and then we can successfully load the Unreal Engine project. Okay. And then we just at this spot, just let him download it slowly. Hello everyone, we've already downloaded it over here. It was quite fast. It's about 11:07 now. When I looked back, he had already downloaded it. Then at this spot, it flashes when you look here. He is requesting my permissions. Because he performed pre-processing, I will just give him the permissions right away. Okay. Of course, you can also start by simply right-clicking. This way, he might not ask for that permission again. Then I'll tell you a little trick. It's just that we just said it was already installed. Didn't we just say we couldn't use multi-threading? Actually, this place is too slow. I didn't use magic here. I just directly ran a straight line here. This side is too slow. SD used multi-threading, and then in this spot, I didn't enable that many threads in this spot. I wonder if opening too many threads caused the problem. So I opened 20 here. Before opening it, it was only a few hundred K or per second. After opening 20, it reached a speed of about several MB to tens of MB, and it's still quite fast. We finished by 11 o'clock. Then, next, we double-click it. Let's see if it generates our YS file. Yes, that's right. And sometimes you might get an error here. You need to check what the actual error is, because I have already verified it. It won't throw an error, because we have debugged the entire environment. See, it started generating. If you haven't used my VS version, or my two-time version, or the configuration information I gave, then you are definitely going to get an error. It's normal to get error. That's completely normal. Let's wait a minute. I used to frequently get this Elite version error. I remember that maybe in the past there were versions like 4.0 or 5.0 for this thing. That is, if you have installed a new version of the OS, maybe he won't be able to use it. It will throw an error. You just need to update it. And then you don't have to worry. This setup can resume the download if it's interrupted. There are absolutely no problems with this if you select it slowly in the middle. Or if you think you need to leave or shut down your computer, you can just close it. It can resume the download next time. He should have conducted some tests himself. This is where it starts. Then this area printed a log. Then this area, next, it's quite. We choose Studio project files. Right. We still need to wait patiently for a moment. Okay, it's quite fast. Alright, we're basically almost done. Let's open this thing, UE5. If you are in the engine, if you change the engine's original code, or add modifications to it, after modifying the code within those additions, sometimes you need to refresh it. You need to regenerate the guard file. Only then can it recognize it. It being slow is completely normal. We have to start the long compilation process again. But the advantage is that I've already compiled it, so you don't have to worry about any problem. Okay, let's just get rid of it. He does it like this, and then he will start scanning in this area, right? It still needs to scan for a moment. We can patiently wait until it's finished scanning. We mainly need to check this box. The architecture of this engine. We haven't explained it to you all yet. Next, we will directly set up the environment with this one. This thing is quite extensive. A deep dive. For now, we will only look at UBT. Let's find this thing called UBT. Yes, it is the Unreal Build tool. Yes, this is our foundational knowledge. This must be mastered. If you don't master it, basically asks you, you don't know UBT, then you're out of luck. It's that simple. We just change Gabble app data. See, right? They all use files from the same location. We can right-click and open it directly here. Right here. Right. Okay, then let's see if the scan is finished. We'll wait until it finishes scanning. Then we can start compiling. Then there are some core options. For example, what do these mean? Let's go to the document together. We will also explain these things in detail in the next chapter, but if it involves Android or Linux, for iOS development, it probably won't be covered in our series. We mainly talk about things related to Windows. Of course, animal bypass. Once you get more comfortable with Windows, you can try Android. Try Linux. You're proficient in both Android and Linux. Now try iOS. Because iOS is the most difficult, but for people like us, when it comes to development or individual development, or the plugin author in his store, we usually only need to focus on Windows. At most, focusing on one Android will be enough. But actually there's a principle. That is, if it's a standard major company, it requires 5 platforms to be interoperable. That is Windows. That is, you create a tool. Or browser, things like pixel streams. So at this point, these things then, after we wait for it to enter and start editing, we remember that we need to be in this place. Set it as the startup project. set as startup project. Also, note that you should not click clean or review. After you click it, half your day will be gone. You can understand it this way. Yes, I think you actually clicked the wrong place here. That's right. It's okay if this point is wrong. We can just cancel it, right? You can actually select it here, but you can't select UE5 this way. Set this location as the startup project. It just proves that we are doing it. Then we right click and compile it. Okay, then pay attention to observing the build process. Pay attention to observing the build things, and in this place, some things before it compiles. Need to load some DL, some tools, and so on. And at this point, look at it running git UHT, his configuration. I might encounter on my computer. Encountering a problem. It's that when I compile, the memory isn't large enough. Might encounter a stack overflow. At this point, we still need to reduce the max. For action, reduce the concurrent count, and then just limit the memory used by each CPU for concurrent actions. It's written in detail in our documentation. Okay, let's wait just a moment. Please wait a moment. After we wait for it to enter the compilation interface, we can cut out this part. It's still generating me. Make fail means some work that needs to be done before compilation. No, we shouldn't debug this. That's wrong. Excuse me, we need to debug this. Right. We'll just debug the most advanced one. Debug editor. Right, debug this thing. It's okay. Let's build it again. Then, for the code you write, you need to reserve at least 300T. 三卡撇大 is at least C 和和 Z. For a code engine, you must retain at least 300G. After you finish coding, it's at least around 240. Maybe earlier versions like 4.27 or 5.0. These might only be 1 or 200 GB, but its content size is getting bigger and bigger. It's not actually forbidden for commercial use. I'm just waiting for it to compile. Come on. All we need here is him too. We just have to wait for him to finish compiling this time. Then we won't need this computer anymore. Too slow. It's already too slow because of this. I need to trim it a bit. Trim it a bit. Okay. We finally returned. The coding has finally begun. You can see that. Wait, look here. Mainly for 5 minutes. This is because of my computer. Look at this spot of his. Mainly look at this. We mainly look at this line. Look at this line. This Visual Studio 14.3632546. This version and the tool used is television. Windows SDK 10.0.18362. This version, okay, no problem at all. Then there are 6,700 projects. No problem at all. For our UE4, it's about 4,000. UE has already reached 5,000. This UE 5.4 reached 672. That is truly understandable. And then you can see this side. Okay, my memory is completely full. It's very normal. When I coded before, when I was coding, a data overflow situation would occur. At that time, it was a kind of pagination, like a table or something similar. You can weave it a few more times, or just limit the concurrent number. So right now, it says the page file is too small. At the same time, you will notice there is an R naming error here. It just means it was cancelled. This isn't important. We need to look at this. There's also a head. Here, it's this. This is where there isn't enough space. So, how do we handle it? We change this area to 7. Then we try to examine the parameters of this area. We open Zehu. It should be the first one. Let's take a look at this. Here, let's incorporate this part. Look at its performance relationship. It is a build calculation. Conclusion. Within this, maximum concurrential count. It should be like this. It is on the same level as this build concurrence. We should put it here. Okay, Let's make it a little smaller. Let me take a look. My memory is about 8 GB. 757 should be fine. Let's try it again. Recompile it. Okay, you can all see these. There are 7 actions here based on max processor content overwrite. This means that this area is effective. This way, the number of concurrent tasks has been reduced. There won't be that many packaging errors. I don't know if it worked. When I did this before, it worked. When I opened the project before, it prompts that it should be a core or a compiled action. It requires 1.5 gigabytes of memory, but my computer doesn't have that much RAM. The computer only has 16 gigabytes of RAM. So I set this place to 512 megabytes for analogy. So this is also a way to solve it. If your computer is powerful enough, you actually don't need to worry about these 2 parameters. And the specific configuration parameters for UBT, the official documentation has it. And I will also paste the link. Everyone can take a look. We'll cover one later, and then we'll cover the next one, because there are quite a few. And they aren't things you need to master right from the start. This is based on individual development needs. You'll gradually learn when you need to use these things. You'll need to adjust these things. Alright, we have compiled it. Look, it's already 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have to compile about 6,300 projects, and all of them succeeded. None failed, and it's not reporting the combat errors we used to have. Okay. So, but when we compiled, actually, our CPU isn't maxed out. Oh, it's not maxed out. It probably only runs at 560%. This won't affect it, right? Because we prioritize stable compilation. Then, if we click Start here, it can open our code editor. Okay. The first time it starts, it might need to compile shaders or something like that. But there shouldn't be any major problems. Then we can see some logs here. It should be in the debugging area. Then it starts loading some resources here. Look at the DLs it loads first, which are Windows ones. Then it continues to load. Inside this engine virus 1644, this input call, these 164D app, the second one requires this. We can take a look at this thing. It usually gets stuck here again. Let's wait for a moment. Okay, it's normal. Let's take a look at our memory. It has started loading again. Look, it's loading the editor. 史莱体164 like a DLL. Project still. This is the preload screen, DLL. These loaded files. These loaded files. These are actually the things we just compiled. He takes some modules, compiles them into individual DLs, and then he needs to load them here. Okay, you see this slash here? The screen hasn't appeared yet. We can zoom it out a bit. Right now, it seems we can only look at it. This is the only way to know what kind of shot it is, roughly. This is light kill. This is the material's material. These are the quality setting. Just these settings, right? What kind of analysis is this? This is for cloud. This is an image. Things like our PNGs, RPG assets, and so on. These are tools for materials. Instead, it calls RLN. These might be some core networking modules. What do these correspond to? Let me quickly show you all while I have some free time. I think we'll cover this in more detail later on. I'll show you some of these plugins. Right? We'll go directly into the master section. Let's go to the runtime section. Do you see this call? Right? Call online. Didn't we just see call online? Look at these ones that correspond to your side. We finally opened it. It loaded for an hour and a half. I think it might be because of the computer. It might also be because of the size box. Its startup speed is a little too slow. It might also be because it's the first time. You can see we've spent so much time on the side. You can't get through it in one glance. Okay, so at this current stage, we don't really need to use the UN-man engine. We should use the UN-man engine in the second or third phase. We don't need to use the UN-man engine for this segment now. The UN-man is already running now. Then everyone can successfully create a project here or do some work or something like that. Okay, if you create a project, remember to select the correct compilation mode, and maybe later we'll have to compile it again. But the stuff from the BX project, the problem should not be too big. Okay, then regarding this installed version, we will conclude the Unreal Engine demo here. Actually, the main reason we installed Unreal Engine is that we need to write some standalone programs. You can see that there are many standalone programs here. Why are they standalone programs? We will explain it to you later. Okay, this video ends here. Thank you everyone.